Who is Soghomon Tehlirian, and why do you need to know that name? All right, here on Tales of Truth, as you can see up here, the authorized Soghomon Tehlirian story, Armenian genocide survivor. Can you see that? Armenian genocide survivor and assassin. This guy, I guess that's this guy over here. You can see that. If you're Armenian and you're watching this, you should know who he is. I imagine most of you Armenians know who he is. If you're not Armenian and you're watching this, you probably don't know who he is. Some of you might, but you need to know who he is, especially for what we're going through right now in Nagorno-Karabakh. So Soghomon Tehlirian is a hero, a hero's hero. He's a hero for all humankind. Some people call him a terrorist. Well, I guess if you terrorize terrorists, you're technically a terrorist, because this guy terrorized the greatest terrorist I've ever heard of. Even a larger terrorist than Adolf Hitler. This guy terrorized that guy. He looked him straight in the eye and then put a bullet in his head. A great moment in history. So the reason I bring that up here and now is right now what's going on in Nagorno-Karabakh. There are young Armenian men just like Soghomon Tehlirian in this picture. He's probably 23, 24, 25 when this picture was taken. I believe it was taken right after a world-changing court trial. But he's an inspiration because he killed a bad guy. He was put on trial, and he was acquitted because he didn't do anything wrong. Look down here in the very bottom left, right under me. This is his testimony from the courtroom. I killed a man. I confess. I shot him in cold blood in the street of Berlin, and he dropped on his face, and I heard his skull crack and saw the blood ooze out on the sidewalk, and I scraped my foot across it. That's his testimony. Yes, shot him in the head, shot him dead. He dropped like a rock, and I was shocked by how easy it was. This is all his testimony from a trial. You can read the transcript yourself. But I am not a murderer. When I first read that line to my 12-year-old daughter, she goes, huh? And that was his testimony on June 2nd, 1921. On June 3rd, 1921, he was set free. All right. Now, he's an inspiration for these young men who are defending their homes right now in Nagorno-Karabakh. Here's a video that was sent to me by a friend recently. I'm going to play a little bit of this. These are young men. Some of these men may be dead now. There are over 1,000, I believe, Armenian military casualties. All right, it goes on for a little bit more, but I get emotional when I hear this because I don't know the words. I don't speak Armenian yet. I'm working on it. But this is a song about Soghomon Tehlirian, a celebration for heroes, and they sing it for the last 100 years, whenever it was written, when they are in conflict. So he's the greatest hero of Armenia, but he's also, if you don't know about him, you're missing out on the greatest hero I've ever heard of. So let's hear what Professor Suny, if you haven't watched this particular clip, Nagorno-Karabakh, Roots of a Modern War, an interview with historian Ronald Grigor Suny. He's the preeminent professor on this era, on the Soviet states, what's going on in Nagorno-Karabakh right now. This guy knows his stuff, and it was an honor to get this interview with him. And the timing of it just all lined up where this war breaks out, and we're interviewing this guy, and it just, like, this video is the most viewed video, second most viewed video on this channel, and it just keeps going up oh no, it's not this one. There's another one interview with him. This one down here. Will Trump recognize the genocide is an excerpt from this longer interview. This Will Trump recognize the genocide is Suny's take on the denial of the Armenian genocide, which is a huge, huge problem in the world today, the denialism. But this full interview is just, if you want to know anything about what's going on now and then, listen to this. But I want to play for you his take on Soghomon Tehlirian. This is my co-host of this channel, Armin, who's interviewing. So let me play what Ron Suny has to say about this hero, Soghomon Tehlirian.
So Tehlirian, this mammoth figure, right, is also an Armenian who takes action in his hands, right? And again, for Armenians who have been portrayed as victims, as spineless in a way, as always put upon and never acting, for them, someone who's a real agent like Tehlirian becomes extremely important, right? And Tehlirian was successful. So we know that at the trial of Tehlirian, he pleaded that he was somehow driven mad by the genocide, that his parents had suffered, and all of that was not true. That in fact he in fact was an agent of the Dashnak party, of this effort to assassinate the leaders of the genocide, the perpetrators of the genocide, who had gotten away and escaped to Europe. And eventually, they got most of them. They got Shakir, they got Talat, they got Jamal Pasha in Tiflis, and eventually Enver Pasha was killed probably by the Bolsheviks. Some people say by an Armenian Bolshevik in Central Asia, right? Well, we like myths in our history too. So Tehlirian is this mammoth figure, right? And his story is amazing. The trial is amazing. And that trial is important not only because he was vindicated and set free, even though he had committed murder, right? He had assassinated someone. But it led to Raphael Lemkin, saying, is there another way besides vengeful killings that we can think about justice? And eventually he would develop this very concept of genocide that was a development out of the idea of crimes against humanity, and that phrase, crimes against humanity, first appeared in May 1915, as you know, in a document of the Allied powers condemning Turkey for what they were doing and about to do to the Armenians.
All right. I'm going to disagree with Professor Suny about one thing and elaborate or explain a little bit more, and then we'll be done with this video. First, you guys need to subscribe and share this video. Pass this video around. Let's get this one spread about the hero of heroes, Soghomon Tehlirian. Subscribe and share. Subscribe and share. I'm just going to keep pounding that point. The subscriptions are going up, and this is a good thing, and the viewings are going up, and that's a good thing. Also, click the notification bell because that'll let you know every time I post a new video. All right. So, Professor Suny, first of all, he's talking about Soghomon was a part of a greater operation. It's called Operation Nemesis. The Armenian genocide was perpetrated by a group of leaders, young Turks, and they got away with it. They escaped. When the war ended, they were sentenced to death, but they'd already escaped to all over Europe. And Talat was in Berlin. Talat was the architect, the top guy, and Soghomon found him, or they located him and placed Soghomon in Berlin. And Soghomon himself found his apartment and tracked him and assassinated him and went and dropped the gun and went on trial. And survivors of the genocide testified to this German jury, the allies of the Ottomans, the allies of the Turks. The German jury acquitted him. They couldn't believe what their own countrymen had been. Well, in the trial, they downplayed the German side of it, but I belabor the point. But there's this greater operation, Operation Nemesis, where Soghomon was just the one of 5 or 6 different assassins that got a number of the top perpetrators of the genocide. Now, what I disagree with Professor Suny about, and this is where my expertise. And this guy's a PhD, a professor, etc. But I do have a little bit of expertise in this. So what I disagree with is Professor Suny said that Soghomon purported that he was driven insane by the trauma of the genocide and what happened. Well, and then Professor Suny says, oh, we found that wasn't true. He was just a part of this operation to kill guys. He was just an assassin sent in. Well, one does not preclude the other. He wasn't driven insane, but he did suffer from what we would term today as severe post-traumatic stress disorder. He was immensely traumatized. He witnessed firsthand women and children being massacred as he and his military unit defended a caravan in retreat. They couldn't save everybody. The weak would fall behind, and he would watch them get mowed down in cold blood by the Turks and the Kurds that massacred the Armenians. And then he never saw his mother. His 80 members of his family, women and children, were massacred while he was in the military fighting to free his homeland. So he was visited by his mother's ghost. Okay, so he testified in the trial that his mother told him to do it, to assassinate Talat. She told him ahead of time, you can't be with me in heaven until you do this. He testified to that. And when I realized that, I prayed to God that was true. So we went and researched, and now the memoir is being translated, and you will get to read it in English next year, the 100-year anniversary. I'm excited that I get to be a part of this project, the Soghomon Tehlirian project, and if you're watching this, then you get to be a part of it too. Just subscribe and share and stay tuned, because incredible things are coming. The translation of Soghomon Tehlirian's memoir. Not only that, I don't know if I should tell this here, but we also got his prison diary, and it's being translated and will be released with the memoir. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but there you go. Subscribe, share, and click the notification bell